Um, a high-end hotel lounge. Sitting in front of me is a woman so stunning, she could easily be mistaken for an actress. Despite the miraculous nature of this arranged marriage meeting, there's hardly any conversation, let alone excitement. The first 3 minutes were the only enjoyable part. I sigh internally. That said, it's an arrangement decided between our families. I wasn't enthusiastic about it to begin with, so it makes sense that she feels the same. I was sure this would be brushed off as if it never happened, and I'd simply return to my dreary daily life. Please marry me. Her unexpected words left me stunned and frozen. She'd always given me nothing but curt replies before. Without a change in expression or a hint of emotion in her voice, she proposed marriage. And so, from this meeting onward, my life, or rather, my entire existence, began to change. My name is Kyle. I'm 25 years old, living at home while working under my father, the company CEO. My jet black hair and sharp, slightly upturned eyes are traits I inherited from him. A diligent father, a kind mother, and a caring younger brother 2 years my junior. Throughout my school years, I consistently achieved top-class grades and was considered promising for the future. Born and raised in a wealthy family, I received the best education possible, nurtured like a fragile plant in a greenhouse. I, too, believed this environment was a blessing. But that all changed after graduating from college. I'm not boasting, but I've always been talented. My one fatal flaw, however, is my inability to communicate well with others. Back in school, this wasn't much of a problem. But in the real world, things are different. My lack of communication skills directly impacted my work. At the office, poor coordination led to missed information. On sales visits, I struggled to speak, prompting clients to call the company requesting a change of representative. Before long, people began saying my younger brother, Henry, was far better suited to succeed my father as the next CEO. I may have been wrong to bring you into this company. I still remember my father's words on the day I completed my first year at the company. His expression was harsher than ever, his eyes empty and cold, reflecting his disappointment in me. Since that day, he distanced me from any meaningful work, as though he had given up on me entirely. Now, I spend my days handling insignificant tasks, buried in a loneliness incomparable to my student years. At this point, I'm nothing but a burden to the company, a useless heir to the CEO. I really don't want to go to work. That muttered phrase, now part of my daily routine, escapes my lips alongside a sigh. But even if I quit this job, there's no way someone like me could work anywhere else. I imagine a future where I remain unemployed, relying on my mother to take care of me while I continue to leech off my family. That's one thing I definitely want to avoid. Shaking my head to dispel the unpleasant thought, I sluggishly get out of bed when I hear my younger brother, Henry, call from outside the door. Hey! Are you up? Yeah, I just woke up. What's up? I open the door to let him in. With his soft, light brown hair that resembles his mother's and his round, friendly-looking eyes. It feels as though the very atmosphere of the room brightens up just by Henry being there. It's hard to believe someone like him is my brother. He's cheerful, responsible, and has a wide circle of friends. He's also smart enough to consistently rank near the top of his class. While his overly kind nature sometimes worries me, he's always been my precious little brother. Dad said to come to his study later. He says he has something important to discuss. Henry speaks while looking down. Something important, huh? Judging by his demeanor, it's not good news. I see. Thanks. Can you tell him I'll be there as soon as I get ready? Kyle. Sorry, I'm always making you act like a messenger pigeon. I flash a faint smile at Henry. Since that day my father lost faith in me, our conversations have dwindled to almost nothing. It's not just that we stopped talking about work, I'd been avoiding him out of fear. And I imagine my father feels the same. Eventually, we began communicating through family members, like now. I know how amazing you are, Kyle. You've always been good at everything. Teachers, friends, everyone praised you. And when I was bullied, you were the first to come and save me. To me, you've always been my hero, someone I've looked up to." His words, as earnest as ever, make my back itch with embarrassment, and I let out a bitter laugh. That's just how Henry is. With his straightforward and honest heart, he says things like this without a hint of embarrassment. And he simply cannot tell a lie. But I can see the sadness and worry on his face. He must already know what our father plans to tell me. Thanks. And sorry for always making you worry. Kyle, I still think you're the one who should inherit the company. If you just found the right environment, Dad would. Your words mean a lot, but I know my limits. If someone like me, who lacks the drive and skills, were to take over, the company and everyone in it would suffer. Someone like you would be far better for the company. Besides, didn't you say you wanted to help Dad? That's only because I thought I'd be working with you. I'm nothing compared to you. I always thought I'd be supporting you, helping you protect the company together. You've got talents far beyond just supporting me. You're someone who pays close attention to others and acts accordingly. With you around, Henry, I'm sure even Dad would feel at ease. I added, though your kindness worries me sometimes, with a small smile, but Henry didn't smile back. Letting out a quiet sigh, I walked over to Henry, who was showing a hint of frustration. Then, I gently ruffled his soft, fluffy hair. "You'll be fine, Henry. I guarantee it. Kyle. Now, go let Dad know. I'll get ready and head there soon." Henry murmurs a small okay before leaving the room. After watching his retreating figure, I quickly get dressed and head for my father's study. As expected, the news was not good. "You'll be transferred to Harris Industries to work on improving their operations." Harris Industries. One of our company's subsidiaries in a regional city, one that, like me, is seen as dead weight. To outsiders, this might look like the CEO's son taking on the challenge of reforming operations, but in reality, it's nothing more than a convenient way to get rid of me. A polite exile, in other words. Additionally, Mr. Harris has no heir, but he does have a daughter. We've already arranged for you to meet her for a potential marriage. The transfer is in 3 days, and the meeting with her will take place 2 days after that. Not only a demotion but also an arranged marriage. And apparently, the marriage arrangement assumes I'll be joining their family. It's clear now, my father has completely abandoned me. A swirl of complicated emotions churns in my chest, but I suppress them and simply reply, yes. Without breaking eye contact, my father continues in his monotone voice, "Do your best there. That's all. Start preparing." I bowed silently and left the study. I never looked my father straight in the face, not even until the very end. I hadn't expected the words I muttered that morning to come true, but with a sigh of relief at finally being free from the suffocating days, I began preparing to move out. In the end, I never faced my father, and the morning of my departure arrived. As I stood at the front door checking my belongings, my mother and Henry watched over me. "Make sure to contact us once you arrive, okay?" Yeah. I got it. Honestly. Dad could have at least shown up today. Henry mutters, his face scrunched into a sulk. "It's fine. He's probably busy with work. Having you and Mom here is more than enough for me." As I say this, Mom grips my hand tightly. "I'm sorry. I tried talking to your father, but it's okay, really. By the way, why does my bag feel so heavy? Did you put something in there, Mom? When I checked earlier, it didn't weigh this much. Now, it's practically dragging my arm down." "Oh. I figured you'd be busy once you got there, so I made some food that you can eat right away. Your favorite beef and potato stew. And a few other things, too." Mom gives me a playful wink. She's always loved cooking, and our meals have always been her handiwork. For decades, she's even made my father's lunches every day. The thought of not being able to eat her cooking anymore makes me feel unexpectedly sentimental. Don't worry. If you need anything, I'll send it. Just remember to do your own cleaning and laundry. I taught you well, didn't I? Yeah, Mom, you were pretty strict about that. She really drilled it into us, didn't she? Under Mom's philosophy, men need to know how to do housework too. Henry and I learned the basics of everything from a young age. Although, in my case, I never really got the hang of it. I only managed to reach a barely competent level. Meanwhile, Dad would sneak off to avoid getting dragged into it, only to get scolded later. Ha ha. Those were good times. Until now, I'd rarely thought back to my childhood. But these memories surfacing now make it clear, I'm sentimental about leaving home. Once I leave, I won't be back for a long time. Even if I somehow manage to turn things around, I doubt my father will ever call me back here. Sensing my unspoken feelings, Mom speaks to me in an unusually gentle tone. Kyle, take care of yourself, okay? If anything happens, you can always come back. This is your home. Saying that, she gently rubbed my back. Her hands were as warm and gentle as they had always been. The moment I felt that warmth, tears welled up in my eyes. That's right. You'll always be an important part of this family, Kyle. Henry's voice, on the verge of tears, tugged at my heartstrings even more. Whether it was when I was overwhelmed by my father's strict upbringing or when I felt like I didn't belong at work, it was my mother and Henry who supported me. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Henry. Wiping away my tears, I tightened my grip on the handle of my bag. Looking at both of them, I smile and say, I'm off, before stepping out the door. Harris Industries has been struggling for years. Under pressure from the parent company, they seem desperate to turn things around, but the work environment is completely toxic. The managers are unmotivated, and the employees have lost all drive. The office is dead silent, even during breaks, with a gloominess that feels like a perpetual funeral. Everyone's faces look drained and lifeless, and just being there makes me feel weighed down. Oh, we're so honored to have Mr. Miller's brilliant son here. I'm sure our performance will skyrocket now. With a voice far too cheerful for the atmosphere, Mr. Harris sidled up to me. The talented son of Mr. Miller. At those words, I couldn't help but furrow my brow, though Mr. Harris seemed entirely unbothered. And to think such a fine young man would marry my Claire. Not only will the company thrive, but my family will be secure as well. Ha ha ha. Right. Even though I haven't even met his daughter yet and nothing about the arrangement has been finalized, Mr. Harris is smiling happily. Most likely, just like my father, he already sees my marriage to his daughter as a done deal. Despite my worries about what I would do if we were completely incompatible, the day of my arranged meeting with Claire, Mr. Harris's only daughter, arrived before I knew it. In an elegant lounge of a luxury hotel, I sat across from her. Claire, sitting in front of me, is even more beautiful than the actresses you see on TV, and I can't help but feel intimidated. Her clear, fair skin, the graceful line of her nose, and her slightly drooping eyes gave her a blend of elegance and gentle charm. Her long, slightly brown-tinted hair shone with a silky luster, making me want to reach out and touch it. Unlike her round, jovial father, Claire's only resemblance to him might have been her eyes. As I silently observed her, our gazes suddenly met. Caught staring so rudely, I quickly looked away, my face heating up. It only lasted a moment, but the simple fact of meeting her gaze made my heart pound noisily in my chest. After exchanging greetings, a female relative of Mr. Harris, who was acting as the matchmaker, took care of various arrangements. However, she quickly said, I'll come back when the time is right, so I'll leave the rest to you two, and left us alone. An awkward silence settled between us. I struggled to find anything, to talk about. It's nice weather today, isn't it? Yes, it is. Ah, The weather, my go-to conversation starter, was shot down in an instant. Claire remained expressionless since the meeting began. Even a polite, fake smile would have been better than this unrelenting silence. Trying to salvage the situation, I pressed on. So, do you have a favorite food? I really like beef and potato stew, but it's pretty hard to make on your own, isn't it? The first time I tried, it was a complete disaster. Even now, I'm not very good at it. Oh, right. Did you know where the name for Jagayamo potatoes in Japanese comes from? Back then, Jakarta was called Jakarta, and potatoes were brought to Japan from there. They were initially called Jagatara Imo, which eventually transformed into Jagayamo. During times of famine in Japan, they were highly valued and widely spread as a reliable crop. Even after all my effort, Claire didn't react. Not even a nod. Her gaze remained downcast, and she hadn't looked me in the eye since our initial greeting. I tried shifting topics to family, to student life, but it was just me talking to myself. With my limited ability to hold a conversation, I quickly ran out of things to say, and silence filled the space once again. It was unbearably awkward. Mr. Harris might want me to marry Claire, but, honestly, I can't imagine living with someone like this, I thought to myself. Claire hasn't said a word or even looked me in the eye this entire time. I wouldn't call myself particularly sociable, nor am I good at conversation, but I think I'm better than her, at least a little. I can't say I know the real her, but even after just 30 minutes, this is how it's been. At this rate, being together every day would feel suffocating. It feels like something from a different era, but this is an arrangement our parents decided on without us. Just like me, she's probably not very keen on this engagement either. Alright, how should I go about turning this down? Or will the matchmaker just come back and say, "It seems this wasn't a good match," sparing us both the trouble? As these thoughts swirled in my mind, I heard her voice, soft but clear. "Please." "Excuse me?" I blinked and looked up, caught off guard. Claire had finally lifted her head, and for the first time, her gaze met mine. Her gaze and expression remained as cold as ever, but her perfectly shaped lips, painted in a soft pink, moved. "Please marry me." Pardon? I had been busy wondering who would be the one to turn this engagement down, so her sudden proposal hit me like a bolt from the blue. And just like that, before I could even fully process it, my marriage to Claire was decided. Mr. Harris had been hoping for an extravagant wedding, but my father claimed he couldn't make time due to work. So, for the time being, we skipped the ceremony, and Claire and I were simply registered as a married couple and began living together. As expected, our marriage was nothing more than two strangers sharing a living space. There was no communication to speak of, and naturally, we slept in separate rooms. Both of us were working demanding jobs at Harris Industries, so our schedules rarely aligned anyway. The housework for two people turned out to be much harder than I'd expected. Within just a few days of living together, the house fell into chaos. This first experience of living with someone else was nothing but stressful for me. Caught between a toxic work environment and an equally suffocating home, I found myself prioritizing work. At least at work, I could exchange basic conversations with my colleagues, which felt far less draining than speaking to my unresponsive wife. Having no one to talk to is this stressful, huh? In hindsight, I was probably the worst version of myself back then. With that thought lingering in my mind, I threw myself into work. My daily routine consisted of coming home just to sleep and catching up on housework during my days off. Physically, I was exhausted, but strangely enough, I found myself starting to enjoy my job at Harris Industries. The reason? I wasn't stuck doing sales or menial tasks anymore. I had been put in charge of systems management. Back at my father's company, I was never allowed to touch this kind of work because it wasn't considered part of the training to become a CEO. But here, I got to work on the company's outdated and inefficient systems, which suited me perfectly. I was always better at quietly working on a computer than at dealing with people. Harris Industries had so many weaknesses that it was easy for me to spot issues and start fixing them. The changes I implemented were well received by the employees, and slowly but surely, the work environment began to improve. For the first time in my life, I felt a sense of fulfillment from my job. Ha ha! Kyle, you're truly impressive. To achieve so much in such a short time, it's remarkable. Mr. Harris, now my father-in-law, beamed with pride. I haven't done anything extraordinary, really. But I'm glad everyone's happy with the improvements. I scratched my head awkwardly, smiling a little. Well, if we could see some grandchildren soon, that would really be the cherry on top. Ha ha. Ah, ha ha. The thought of children with Claire, given how little we even spoke, seemed impossible. I swallowed the words that almost escaped my mouth and instead plastered on a polite smile. A month passed since our marriage. Good morning, Claire. Good morning. The fact that we'd reached the point of exchanging simple greetings was perhaps the only improvement. I headed to the kitchen to make myself a coffee, just as Claire left the living room. Today's a day off, right? The weather's nice. Do you want to go somewhere? No. I have somewhere I want to go. Can I come along, or? I'll be fine on my own. Oh, I see. She flatly turned me down and returned to her room. I had been trying, in my own clumsy way, to bridge the gap between us, but her cold indifference always left me deflated. Sighing, I started brewing my coffee while mentally running through my to-do list for the day. I wasn't great at housework, but Claire seemed to struggle even more. The house was constantly in a state of disarray. Neither of us could cook, so our meals were almost always convenience store ready meals or discounted side dishes from the supermarket. I mean, it's fine if the one who can do the housework just does it, but I wish you'd at least show a little more willingness to help out. I grimaced as I tasted my bitter, overly strong coffee, letting out another sigh. Maybe I'll talk to her when she gets back. We haven't even had a proper meal together lately. I'll try cooking something. At least it'll give us something to talk about. I wasn't confident in my cooking skills, but I figured a home-cooked meal might at least brighten up the table a little. Alright, first things first, laundry and cleaning. Then I'll go grocery shopping. Maybe I'll call Mom for some advice on recipes while I'm at it. Relying on my mother still stung my pride a bit, but I knew better than to pass up advice from a seasoned pro. With that thought, I gulped down my coffee and got to work. Alright. I somehow managed to finish this. Even though I only managed to follow half of my mother's advice, and with some help from cooking videos, I managed to prepare dinner. The menu was white rice, miso soup, salad, and beef and potato stew. Since I was going through the effort, I selfishly made what I wanted to eat. But, unsurprisingly, the potatoes had completely fallen apart. Still, I'd used some decent quality meat, so I figured it balanced out. As I nodded to myself in self-satisfaction, Claire walked in, right on cue. Claire walked into the living room and stared intently at the dishes laid out on the dining table. Oh, welcome back. I made dinner, so maybe we could eat together. I'm fine. Her immediate, curt response cut me off mid-sentence. The quick dismissal stung more than I'd like to admit, but I decided to try again. We're both busy, and we haven't really spent any time together. Maybe just this once. Please don't concern yourself with me. As Claire hurried toward her room after saying that, I found myself stopping her without thinking. Even if you don't want to spend time with me, don't you think you're being too cold? You don't do any housework, you're never home. And today you were out all day. We live together, this isn't right. I couldn't hide the frustration in my voice. Silent again. You've barely spoken to me since we met. What's the point of us even being married? My voice softened toward the end, turning into something closer to a question for myself. If she didn't care this much, Why did she even agree to marry me? That's when I heard her faint voice. I really did try. Claire, whose arm I had grabbed, muttered something in a small voice. Her voice sounded like she was on the verge of tears, and, feeling confused, I called her name. Claire? I tried my best at first, you know. I watched and imitated what I could, but I just couldn't get it right, and instead, I ended up making more work for you. I thought, if it was only going to add to your burden when you came home exhausted every day, it'd be better if I didn't interfere at all. Saying that, she started to cry, tears spilling down her face. Not knowing how to comfort a crying woman, I fumbled awkwardly, completely at a loss. Ignoring my flustered state, Claire continued to speak. My parents were always working, so I was alone all the time. And just when life finally seemed stable, my mother passed away. After that, we had housekeepers, but they didn't care about me at all. I ate at a big, empty table, all by myself. There was no one to talk to. No one around me, I was completely alone. Claire, despite being the daughter of a small company CEO, is still the only child of a CEO. So I just assumed she'd been raised in a similar environment to mine, cherished and cared for. Even though she never spoke about it, I never imagined she'd been living such a lonely life. All I could do was sit silently and listen to her story. But then my father told me to get married. He said a woman's happiness is in marriage. But I don't even know what a marriage is supposed to be like. I know what a wife is supposed to do, but I can't do it. I wanted a warm, happy family, but I don't have the ability or the know-how to make it happen. Her voice, full of pain, pierced through me. Gently, I released her arm and said softly, "I'm sorry. I didn't know you'd been trying so hard, Claire. I didn't notice how much this marriage had been hurting you. I was so caught up in my own struggles that I never thought to look at things from your perspective. I'm really sorry. I didn't say anything either. Yeah, but I should have tried harder to understand you. I wanted to know what you were feeling. Maybe if I had, I could have approached things differently. But I just gave up because you didn't say anything. I didn't know how to talk to you. I've barely ever spoken to men before. Well, that makes two of us. I never know what to say to women either." I was completely panicking on our first meeting. You were. You didn't look like it. I actually enjoyed listening to you talk. Wait, seriously? When I asked her that, Claire gave a small nod. I couldn't believe that even a conversation like that had made her happy. Her unexpected words made my face grow hot. I'm not good at showing emotions on my face, so it's hard to tell, isn't it? Well, yeah, a little. Honestly, I thought you hated me. I've been sure of it since the day we met. That's not true. At my words, Claire raised her voice this time. I didn't know what to do, but it's not like I dislike you or anything. Claire's voice was soft, her ears turning faintly red as she spoke. Seeing that, my heart began to race. Well, I'm just glad we've cleared up the misunderstanding. I'm not great at housework either, so why don't we figure it out together? If it's still too hard, there are plenty of tools and conveniences out there we can use. Together. Yeah. Let's do this together. At my words, Claire gave me the faintest smile. It was the first time I'd ever seen her smile. It was more beautiful and delicate than I could have imagined, and for a moment, I couldn't look away. From that day on, everything began to change. We started doing housework together, failing and learning as we went. On weekends, we'd go out when we could. And when our schedules allowed, we'd sit down and share meals together. We'd laugh at small, insignificant conversations over dinner. The warm, loving home she wished for. I wonder if we're getting even a little closer to that. This change at home began to ripple into my work life as well. Claire, who always seemed distant at the office, started smiling more. And maybe it was the same for me. You two are such a sweet couple. Just seeing you makes me feel happier, like I'm getting some of that joy for myself. One of the colleagues said this with a grin. Claire and I exchanged an embarrassed glance and shared a shy laugh. Seeing us, more colleagues began to gather around. Ever since Claire got married, her smiles have become more frequent, and we couldn't be happier for her. And ever since you came, Kyle, this place has changed for the better. It's so much easier to work now. The whole company feels brighter. Come on, that's an exaggeration. It's not. Isn't that right, Claire? Looking surprised when a female colleague brought it up, Claire glanced up at me and said with a smile, just like everyone says, Kyle coming here has been such a huge help for all of us. Of course, for me too. With such a beautiful and wonderful wife, and being together both at home and at work, man, I'm jealous. I want to get married, too. When the youngest employee shouted that, teasing voices rang out around him, saying things like, better find someone first. And then, we all burst out laughing together. Back in school, or even at my father's company, I'd always been alone. But now, here I was, laughing with everyone. It was hard to believe, even for me. This change was undeniably because of Claire. Being with her made me feel at ease, and somehow, I started smiling more naturally. It was because she had accepted me that I'd found the ability to accept others. Even if someone out there didn't like me, it didn't matter. Because I had her. So it's okay. That thought alone made talking to people so much easier. As I got lost in my thoughts, a colleague's question suddenly pulled me back to reality. By the way, Kyle, why did you come to our company? I mean, no offense, but our company isn't doing so well. So it's kind of seen as a place for demotions. Hey, that's rude. Everyone kept apologizing, but unsure how to respond, I could only manage a wry smile. It's fine. But I wish you wouldn't think of it that way. Everyone here works hard. If anything, our struggles were because each person had too much on their plate, and the company wasn't functioning efficiently. That's exactly it. You keep spotting problems one after another and fixing them all in no time. Everyone's been wondering, just who is Kyle? The others nodded eagerly. I laughed softly and scratched my head. You're exaggerating again. But as I looked at their curious faces, I realized something. I could tell them the truth. Back in school, I once scored an IQ of 180 on a test. Because of that, everyone praised me and said I was a genius. But when I stepped into the real world, I was completely useless. I was all brains and no people skills. I couldn't communicate. And it caused all sorts of problems at work. School smarts mean nothing if you can't work with others. I learned that the hard way. When I finished speaking, everyone exchanged glances. The silence made me a little nervous. I wondered if they were disappointed after seeing the real me. But then, an unexpected chorus of voices rose up. Who on earth said you were useless? Thanks to Kyle, this company has become so much easier to work at. It's all because of the knowledge and strength you've been building up all along. That's right. We can't thank you enough. I couldn't help but look at Claire. She was nodding along with everyone else. Everyone. Kyle, don't cry now. You'll get us all crying too. Sorry. I just feel so happy. Forgetting my age, I let tears fall in front of everyone. They acknowledged me. That made me so happy, and I felt that I could truly keep giving my best alongside them. That feeling was so strong. On the way home that evening, I was walking with Claire toward our house. I'm glad I came here. I met everyone, learned how enjoyable work can be, and since I started spending time with you, so many positive changes have happened. Saying that, I took Claire's hand. My heart raced at that first touch. Claire looked surprised, but she didn't pull her hand away. Thanks to you, I'm living such a fulfilling life now. Really, thank you. I looked straight into Claire's eyes as I expressed my feelings. From her hand, I felt her warmth, and my heart pounded even harder. I feel the same. Meeting you taught me the warmth of family. Every day, my heart feels so warm. This must be what happiness is like. As she said that, Claire brought my hand to her cheek and gently leaned into it. The soft feel of her skin made heat rush straight to my face. Hey, Kyle. It's my dad's birthday this Sunday. Oh, really? Then let's go celebrate. I'd also like to officially greet your dad. Greet him? To say, please let me marry Claire. I never got the chance to say it properly after our arranged meeting. Back then, I hadn't even gotten close to Claire, and marriage didn't feel real yet, but now, it's different. I want to be with Claire. If possible, I want to spend the rest of my life with her. Her family background wasn't ideal, but I wanted to let Mr. Harris, who raised her, know that I would make her happy and ask for his blessing. Kyle, thank you. My dad and I aren't exactly on bad terms, but we don't get along well either. I hope this can be a chance to talk more. With your help, would that be okay? Of course. Since I had struggles with my own father, maybe I could help Claire in some way. With that thought, I smiled at her as she looked up at me anxiously. Hearing my answer, she looked relieved and relaxed. I think I'll bring some of Dad's favorite beef and potato stew for him. Really? That's my favorite too. My dad loved the beef and potato stew my mom used to make. So, when you said you liked beef and potato stew during our arranged meeting, I was really happy. Wait, was that one of the reasons you decided to marry me? Not the only reason, but it was one of the deciding factors. Saying that, Claire smiled shyly. On the day of the meeting, when she didn't seem particularly eager, her sudden "please marry me" had puzzled me, but to think beef and potato stew was the clincher. I owe my mother, who made me a fan of beef and potato stew. Are you shocked? Not at all. I'm actually really happy. Wanting to reassure Claire, who looked a little uneasy, I smiled warmly at her. On his birthday, let's make a delicious beef and potato stew and bring it for him. We'll prepare lots of other things your father likes, too. I'm sure he'll be happy. Yeah. Claire nodded happily at my words. She was probably imagining her father's delighted face. In that moment, her innocent expression reminded me of a young girl, and I felt an overwhelming tenderness toward her. I gently squeezed her hand, and she squeezed mine back. Hand in hand, we walked home, talking excitedly about what to prepare for the birthday. And then the day came. When we arrived, Mr. Harris's face was unexpectedly stern. Dad, I have something to say. Come in. Led by Claire, we entered the living room where Mr. Harris was waiting, and before we could even greet him, he spoke. Claire. Break up with this man. What? Dad, what are you talking about? Claire and I froze at his shocking words. Ignoring our reaction, he turned his harsh gaze toward me this time. I'd been completely deceived by you too. I heard you were capable, yet I'm told you're utterly useless. And you're not even an heir, your own family cast you out. Marrying you brings no benefit to this family. You're good for nothing, except for scheming. But I won't let you have your way any longer. I'll be taking my daughter back. His anger radiated in waves. Dad, stop saying such horrible things about Kyle. He's a wonderful man who stays by my side. And thanks to him, the company has been improving. Hasn't it? Claire. Quiet, Claire. The company's recovery was pure luck. It has nothing to do with him. Did he fill your head with lies to trick you? This is absurd. Claire stepped in front of me, shielding me, but Mr. Harris's fury had completely taken over, and he wouldn't listen. Dad, please calm down. Today is supposed to be a celebration. Look. We prepared all of this for you." Saying that, she placed the bags of food and gifts on the table. "But, trying to win me over with things, are you? I won't fall for that." Crash! He grabbed the bag from Claire and flung it against the wall. The food, the flowers, and the carefully wrapped presents all scattered onto the floor alongside a nearby vase. Of course, the beef and potato stew she had poured her heart into making Mr. Harris's favorite dish had also ended up in a miserable heap, spilled across the floor. "No." Hearing Claire's voice, filled with sadness and despair, made my mind go blank. Before I knew it, I had grabbed Mr. Harris by the collar. "Do you realize what you've just done? Ah! Let go. Insult me all you want, I don't care. Say whatever you like. But what you just destroyed was everything Claire prepared for you, thinking only of your happiness. She even tried to recreate the beef and potato stew her mother used to make for you, all so you'd smile again. And you..." At my words, Mr. Harris's gaze shifted to the mess on the floor. A flicker of realization crossed his face. I didn't apologize to Claire. Do you even know how much she suffered all these years, unable to fill the loneliness she felt? She's been living through so much pain, and yet just now, you trampled on her kindness. And on top of that, you're treating her like some pawn for your own purposes. My grip on Mr. Harris's collar tightened even more. I'd never been so furious in my life. I clenched my free hand, ready to strike. "Kyle, stop. That's enough." Claire. Her small hand rested gently on mine. That warmth pulled me back to my senses. I let go of Mr. Harris and pulled Claire into a protective embrace. "Dad, I've made up my mind. I'm leaving this family." "What? My family was always just you and my late mother." "That's why I joined the company when you asked, and why I agreed to the arranged marriage. I thought, as long as it made you happy, that was enough." "But..." Claire looked straight at Mr. Harris as she spoke. His face twisted slightly, showing a trace of pain. "I can't leave Kyle. Even though our marriage was arranged by our parents, he stayed by my side and filled my heart with kindness. From now on, I want to walk with him. Claire, thank you for everything until now. Goodbye, Dad." With those words, Claire and I left the house without looking back. Once we had walked a short distance away, Claire suddenly stopped. Her shoulders were trembling slightly. Seeing her like that was unbearable, and I wrapped her in my arms. "You did really well. It's because you were with me, Kyle. Thank you." Her voice was tearful but carried no regret, only strength. The Claire I had first met wouldn't have been able to make such a decision. "Kyle, I'm sorry. I ended up dragging you into this." "What are you talking about? The company, it'll be hard for you to stay there now, won't it?" She looked at me apologetically, and I smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry about that. Watching you make this decision gave me the courage to make one of my own." She tilted her head, not understanding what I meant. "I'm going to quit the company and start my own business. I want to free myself from my father's expectations, just like you did." Like Claire, I had always tried to walk the path my father wanted for me. Even when I failed and was cast out, I never tried to improve myself or speak up for what I wanted. I'd been living without a voice of my own. But Claire helped me realize that I couldn't protect the things that mattered unless I chose my own path. "I might make things really difficult for us in the future, but will you stay by my side anyway?" I asked Claire that question as she rested in my arms. In response, Claire looked up at me and said, "Of course. If I'm with you, Kyle, I know we can overcome anything. So, let me stay with you forever." Her clear, beautiful eyes reflected her sincerity as they slowly closed. And then, we shared our first, gentle kiss. From that moment on, Claire and I began preparing to start our own business. Though we thought we'd be going it alone, as soon as I announced my resignation, the unexpected happened. "If you two are leaving, we'll go with you," many of my colleagues said. Despite the short time I had spent at Harris Industries, we had built a strong bond of trust. Thanks to their support, along with a bit of luck, our new company thrived. We expanded our business rapidly, and the media began to take notice. One day, among the many partnership offers we received, I spotted the name of my father's company. Sensing the lingering conflict in my heart, Claire suggested, "Let's visit your family and say hello." Although I had been in touch with my mother and younger brother Henry, it had been a year since Claire met my family and I spoke with my father. When we arrived, my mother welcomed Claire with open arms, saying joyfully, "It's like I finally have the daughter I've always wanted." The two of them quickly bonded, leaving me behind in their conversation. Henry, too, was all smiles as he cheerfully called Claire's sister-in-law and offered his heartfelt congratulations. The real challenge was my father. As I stood there, unsure of how to begin, Claire gently placed a hand on my back. "With who you are now, Kyle, you can talk to your father properly. It'll be okay." Encouraged by her words, I faced my father. The moment I stepped into his office, he surprised me by saying, "I was wrong. I pushed my own expectations onto you without ever listening to your side. I'm truly sorry." He explained that my transfer to Harris Industries was never meant as a demotion. It was a test to see how I would approach work without my parents' oversight. He had planned to bring me back to the main office or transfer me to a different department after evaluating my progress. As for the arranged marriage with Claire, it had come from his concern that I was still single with no sign of settling down. My mother had scolded him severely for never explaining any of this to me. "I haven't seen a storm like that hit him in years," Henry whispered with a grin. Though I decided to spare my father's pride by leaving the details unsaid. While my reconciliation with my father went smoothly, Claire's situation took longer. As for Harris Industries after that, many employees, including us, resigned, leaving the company unable to function. The business, which had just started to recover, quickly declined again. Moreover, they abandoned the systems I had worked hard to improve and reverted to their toxic, inefficient practices. Eventually, a petition was sent to the parent company. As a result, Mr. Harris's management abilities were scrutinized and exposed, leading to his removal from the position. A new CEO was appointed in his place. 2 years after Mr. Harris had been removed from his position, he came to visit us unexpectedly. Mr. Harris, looking nothing like his former self and appearing somewhat aged, bowed deeply to us. "Claire, Kyle, I've done so many unforgivable things. I'm truly sorry. Dad. Claire, I made a promise to your mother before she passed away to ensure your happiness. Because you had to endure hardships when you were young. I was determined to give you a life of comfort and abundance. Having pulled myself up from poverty, I thought wealth was the key to happiness. So I arranged for you to meet someone who could guarantee a stable future. Becoming the wife of a company heir would mean you'd never worry again. I truly thought it was all for you, but I was wrong about everything." Tears filled his eyes as he wiped them away. "After you both left that day, I ate the beef and potato stew you made for me. It was delicious, just like what your mother used to make. I never let you do any housework because I didn't want you to struggle, yet here you were, making such a wonderful meal. I remembered you saying that Kyle had helped you, and that's when it finally hit me. What you wanted, what you had always longed for, wasn't wealth, it was a family. Someone who would stand by your side, no matter what. That's right. I wanted to spend time with you and Mom. If work or housework was hard, I wanted to help. I wanted us to work together. To share our burdens." Claire's voice trembled as she spoke. Slowly, she reached out and placed her hand gently over her father's. "Claire, I should have talked to you properly back then, just like Kyle did. I'm sorry, Dad. Claire. I'm the one who should be apologizing. Kyle, thank you. Thank you for taking care of my daughter, for cherishing her as I should have. At that, Mr. Harris broke down, his shoulders shaking as he cried. Claire sat beside him, gently patting his hunched back with care. Mr. Harris, no, Dad. I'm grateful, too. Because of Claire, I've found happiness. And, next spring, our family will grow even larger. There's nothing more I could ask for. Mr. Harris's head shot up, his eyes wide as he turned to look at Claire. Meeting that gaze, Claire smiled softly and gently caressed her belly with a look of affection. Is it true? Claire, Kyle, congratulations. Dad, you're crying too much. Right, Kyle? While Mr. Harris began to sob uncontrollably with tears of joy, Claire gazed at him with a look of exasperation. Yet her expression was unmistakably one of happiness. In the end, both Claire and I overcame the rifts we had with our fathers. I learned something important through it all. Even between parents and children, if you don't communicate, misunderstandings will grow. And with others, it's even more true. That's why it's so important to talk to the people who matter to you. Be honest about what you feel. Choose your words with care, thinking of the other person's heart. Because that's how trust is built, and I was lucky enough to learn that. The entire office bristled with tension at the voice coming through her phone. Do you not value your long-term clients? The voice cut through the silence like a blade. After hanging up, she turned to me quietly for a while. And she let out a deep sigh, looking at me with anxious eyes. Mason, what do we do at times like this? Her voice had a tone of utter helplessness. I felt a growing sense that I needed to support her more proactively. My name is Mason, 39 years old. I work in the maintenance team of an IT company, focusing on maintaining internally developed business systems. The job involves everything from fixing system bugs and improving performance to handling occasional user requests for additional features. Each team member dedicates themselves to specific tasks while supporting one another. My primary role is handling inquiries and daily system checks. I often handle database issues and data update glitches. To track down each problem and find solutions, I analyze error data and check system operations. Our efforts rarely take the spotlight. But by working behind the scenes, we ensure everything runs smoothly. This is the pride of our maintenance team and the true value of our work. Once in a while, when a client says, "We chose this system because the support is so reliable," it feels like the best reward. I never really cared about how I was seen within the team. I wasn't someone who stood out or spoke loudly. If anything, I blended into the background. But one day, while going about my usual work, things began to shift slightly. The catalyst for this change was meeting someone new. I, who never felt the need to stand out, started to change because of her. It happened on the day the transfer of the maintenance team leader was announced. The person who arrived as his replacement was Emma. According to her former colleagues, Emma was 34 years old. She had previously excelled in the development department. And her strong desire to contribute to the long-term stability and efficiency of systems led to her being selected as the new maintenance team leader. With her cheerful personality and fair, approachable demeanor, Emma quickly transformed the team's atmosphere. From her very first day, her desk seemed to light up, reflecting her bright character. She carried herself with the confidence of a leader, dressed impeccably in a neat suit. While her features were well-defined, her gentle expression gave her an approachable charm. Her seat was close to mine, and every time she spoke, her voice had a pleasant way of resonating in my ears. When Emma first came to my desk, I was nervous about what she might say. But she was just making her introductions. Hello, Mason. I heard from the previous leader that you're experienced and reliable. I might have to rely on you sometimes, but I'm looking forward to working together. Her words put me at ease. If there's anything I can do, I'm happy to help. I look forward to working with you too. After responding to her cheerful greeting and hopeful gaze, I breathed a sigh of relief. Her one word and smile eased the tension I had been feeling, and naturally, I smiled too. Her positive attitude gave me the energy to approach my work with a renewed mindset. During daily operations, Emma treated everyone equally. When someone had new ideas or suggestions, she would actively encourage team discussions. She even took an interest in the work I quietly tackled. "Mason, how's the progress on the issue?" she'd often ask casually. "They want me to respond today, but it's a bit tricky and might take time. However, we've seen similar issues before. So I'm checking old records for a solution." She always encouraged me. "That sounds tough, but I'm sure you'll figure it out, Mason. Oh, and if you ever hit a wall, don't hesitate to let me know. I can check with the development team for you." Her consideration and kindness gradually started changing me. The previous leader was by no means a bad leader. He was systematic and thoroughly maintained organized management. Under his leadership, work always proceeded according to plan, and there were very few mishaps within the maintenance team. He had extensive technical knowledge and earned the respect of everyone on the team. However, his leadership came with a certain strictness, and at times, the team's atmosphere was tense and a little strained. In contrast, Emma's leadership style was flexible and open. She valued each member's opinion and made an effort to create an environment where ideas could be freely expressed. Thanks to her, the team's atmosphere became more relaxed and creative. Even I began to talk more actively with other team members. The internal work life, which often felt isolating, gradually started to feel brighter, thanks to her. Her presence had colored my world in ways I hadn't imagined. Each day at the office became something I looked forward to more than before. To my surprise, I found myself enjoying our conversations so much that I started sharing my worries and concerns about work with her. Emma's warm personality and dedicated attitude toward the team slowly began to unravel the tension I carried. One day, Emma approached my desk with a slightly anxious expression. "Mason, there's a bit of a problem. You know that request from the client you handled recently? I went to consult the development team because it's tough for our team to address, but..." Her voice unusually carried a hint of agitation. She was referring to a request I'd received from a client about modifying the report generation feature of their business system. But this wasn't an ordinary issue. The problematic feature had been developed using Procobol, a programming language now considered ancient. No one on our team knew how to handle it, and even the development team had no experience with it. The last person who worked with the language had left the company 4 years ago. Looking at me apologetically, Emma explained, "Our team doesn't have the skills to handle this, and the development team can't step in either. I plan to give the client some kind of answer, but I can't think of a good one right now." Her expression showed just how troubled she was. Seeing her like that, I also wanted to do something, but there seemed to be no way out. Emma had no choice but to inform the client that the issue couldn't be fixed. As I watched her make the call, I could practically hear the client's anger spilling over to our side. As she made the call, the client's frustration practically echoed throughout the office. "Don't you care about your longtime clients?" The voice on the other end cut through the tense silence. She tried her best to respond sincerely, but the voice on the other end only grew angrier. When she finally hung up, she turned to me, silent for a moment. Then, with a deep sigh and a worried look, she said softly, "Mason, what are we supposed to do in situations like this?" There was a hint of despair in her voice. The anxiety in her eyes weighed heavily on my heart as well. That incident made us painfully aware that we still had so much to learn. Technology advances day by day, but sometimes even old technologies need to be revived. That day, we didn't just feel our limitations as engineers, but we were forced to think seriously about how we could grow as a team. Looking into her eyes, I said firmly, "It might be tough, but let's try to find a solution together. At the very least, we should talk to Alex. We don't usually consult him about maintenance issues, but special situations require special measures. Emma looked a bit surprised at my suggestion but nodded in agreement. You're right. I'll contact Alex. Her expression seemed to brighten slightly, as if she'd found a glimmer of hope. She headed off to Alex, the department manager, to explain the problem and its impact, asking for his support. However, when Emma returned from Alex's office, her usual brightness was gone, and the disappointment on her face hinted at an unfavorable outcome. She slowly made her way back to her desk, looked me in the eye, and let out a deep sigh. Then, she quietly began to tell me about her conversation with Alex. Mason, I told Alex everything about the issue. But he was pretty firm about it. He said, Emma, this is a critical matter. They're one of our key clients, and many users have been relying on our business system for years. We can't leave this problem unresolved. So find a solution however you can. He emphasized it with a serious look. Her voice trembled slightly under the weight of the pressure. Hearing this, I searched for words to comfort her. It was hard to see her so dejected. At the same time, I felt a confusing surge of emotions toward her. Why does seeing her so down make me feel this way? Why do I feel so compelled to support her? Could it be that I like her? The questions swirled endlessly in my mind. This was the first time I had ever felt such emotions. Emma, please don't carry this burden alone. We're here too, and we'll solve this problem together. If there's anything we can do, just say the word. The whole team will support you. The other maintenance team members nearby chimed in as well. Emma, we'll help however we can, they said with conviction. She managed a small smile, looking as though she had regained a bit of strength. From that moment, Emma wasted no time. She knocked on the development team's doors repeatedly. The development team had several leaders, but each one gave her the same response when she asked for help. Nobody uses such an old language anymore. I'm too busy right now. Sorry, it's impossible. Consistently, they turned her down. With each rejection, I could see Emma's expression grow heavier. Watching her efforts firsthand, I knew just how hard she was trying to resolve this issue. She wasn't the type to give up easily. Still, repeated closed doors can break anyone's spirit. Seeing her like that, I knew I had to do something more to support her. I, too, had faced plenty of rejection in the past. Her frustration reminded me of my own struggles years ago, and it hurt to see her in that state. I wanted to help her somehow. As I searched for answers, I recalled my past. During the recession caused by the Lehman shock, I became a job seeker facing challenges. To survive that tough time, I taught myself multiple programming languages. Among those were the basics of SQL and COBOL, which turned out to be related to this issue. While I had never worked with ProCOBOL directly, I thought that maybe this knowledge could help Emma, the team, and the client. I immediately started digging through ProCOBOL manuals and online resources. After work hours, I stayed late into the night, studying ProCOBOL's syntax and characteristics. I spent my weekends almost entirely at the office, exploring ways to combine SQL and COBOL to fix the problem. Even as Emma and the others left for the day, I remained, battling the screen alone. During this time, Emma reached out to branch engineers and external vendors, but budget constraints meant all her attempts were turned down. Even as she ran around searching for solutions, she still found moments to check in on me. Mason, you've been staying late these past few days. Are you handling a bug fix? I turned away from the screen and looked at her. Not exactly. I've been researching that ProCOBOL issue, trying to see if there's anything we can do. She looked surprised. What? Mason, didn't you say you didn't have experience with ProCOBOL? I smiled slightly and explained to clear up her misunderstanding. No, I don't. But it's built on a combination of SQL and COBOL. I still use SQL, and I studied COBOL a long time ago. I'm just trying to piece it together. Hearing this, the other maintenance members also stepped up to offer their help. Mason, don't keep this to yourself. I can help with the sequel part. I'll assist with testing. Emma's eyes glistened as she expressed her gratitude to all of us. Thank you so much, everyone. I've been struggling alone, but I can't believe how much support you're giving me. Mason, you and the whole team have given me hope. At that moment, I felt a powerful sense of unity as our team came together to tackle this challenge. That unity became our greatest strength. I took the lead in assigning tasks to the team. Despite our usual workloads, we divided the roles strategically, using whatever limited time we had. We paused when needed, repeating corrections and checks as we pushed forward. Each of us played to our strengths, working together with all our might to solve the issue. Even in the midst of our busyness, collaborating as a team gave us a sense of steady progress. With every obstacle, our bond grew stronger, and our mutual support solidified. It was a great opportunity for me to grow in the process of working together as a team toward a common goal. While each person did his or her job well. Those days continued for 2 weeks. After countless rounds of trial and error, we finally discovered a solution to fix the program. We ran numerous simulations and conducted thorough tests down to the smallest detail. Then, the relief we felt when we confirmed the repaired system worked correctly was beyond words. After completing the fix, we immediately reported it to Emma. Emma, we did it. We fixed the report functionality just as the client requested, all on our own. When she heard the news, her face instantly lit up. After reviewing the fix, she turned to me with a look of genuine gratitude. Thank you so much, Mason. Because of you and everyone here, I think the client will be thrilled, she said, her smile beaming with happiness. Seeing her radiant smile, I felt both relief and an indescribable sense of accomplishment. When we reported the fix to the client, they were extremely satisfied. Hearing their response, Emma and I exchanged small victory high-fives in the office. It felt like all the struggles we had faced had suddenly lifted, leaving us with a sense of triumph. This experience not only made me realize the growth I had achieved, both personally and as part of the team, but it also strengthened the bond between Emma and me. One afternoon, I was suddenly summoned by Alex. When I entered the room, Alex was sitting at his desk, looking deep in thought. As I walked in, he lifted his head and looked at me. Mason, the report fixed the other day was a huge help. Thank you. With that in mind, I want to assign you as the leader of our next big project. At first, I couldn't process what Alex was saying. I was so surprised that I couldn't speak for a moment. But when I saw the serious look in his eyes, I realized this was no light conversation. Wait. A new project? And you want me as the leader? Are you sure I'm the right person for this? Alex smiled apologetically and began explaining. Ah, my bad. I should have explained the project first. The next big project involves transitioning the old ProCOBOL system to a more modern programming language that today's developers can work with. You've shown that you can handle ProCOBOL, and you're familiar with modern programming languages as well. By switching to a new system, we'll be able to resolve future issues or requests more efficiently. And Emma told me that the report fix was only possible because of you. I'm confident that you're the right person to lead this project to success. Hearing his words, I was speechless for a moment. I never expected to be entrusted with such an important role. Thank you. But I'm not sure if I'm confident enough for it. Can I have a little time to think? I replied hesitantly. Alex seemed slightly surprised but quickly softened his expression. I understand. Just consider it carefully. I nodded lightly and left his office. Walking down the hallway, my heart felt conflicted. In my experience, my hard work hadn't always paid off. During the time I became a job seeker facing challenges after the Lehman shock, no matter how hard I worked, my efforts were rarely recognized. Those memories came flooding back, as vivid as ever. Not long after, Emma came over to my desk, eager to talk about what she'd heard from Alex. She seemed genuinely happy about the idea of me becoming the new project leader. "Mason, this is such a great opportunity. You're leading a project? That's going to be amazing, and we'll all be here to support you." Her words were always full of positivity. But I felt I needed to be honest with her. "Emma, to be honest, I'm not sure about this. I'm thinking of turning it down." Her eyes widened in shock before she quickly responded with conviction. "What? You absolutely have to take this. What's holding you back?" I took a deep breath and opened up about my feelings. "There are two things that worry me. First, from my past experience, my hard work hasn't always paid off. During the Lehman shock, when I started job hunting, most companies froze hiring. As a liberal arts graduate, I had no standout skills, and for 6 months, I didn't get a single offer. I tried to change my situation, so I threw myself into learning programming languages on the advice of a friend. I ended up teaching myself over 10 languages. But even then, every interview ended the same way. "You don't have real work experience." It took over a year before I finally landed a job, and that was only because of a connection. That's when I realized that sometimes effort isn't enough. So now, I'm scared that even if I try hard, it might all be for nothing. Emma patiently listened to me, and when I finished, she spoke softly but firmly. "But Mason, this time was different. I saw how alive you were when you tackled that issue, how much you shined. Watching you inspired me, too." Her words struck a chord within me. I realized that, little by little, my recent work had been helping me heal from those past scars. Back when I first started learning programming, I held onto the hope that it might open doors for me, and I also genuinely enjoyed it. That's why I kept learning language after language. Even when Alex brought up the Report Fix project, a part of me imagined how smoothly it could be done with the right programming tools. Emma's optimism and gentle smile planted a new seed of hope within me. There was no point in being tied down by my bitter past. It was time to move forward again, to have the courage to take another step. Then Emma asked with a soft smile, "Can I hear the second reason?" Feeling a little embarrassed, I muttered quietly, "Well, I just thought it'd be nice to keep working with you." Hearing that, she looked a little surprised, but her expression quickly softened into a bright smile. "That's even more reason for you to take on the role. Mason, I know you'll turn this project into something incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing you lead the team and support us as the amazing leader I know you can be," she said, encouraging me. Her words gave me the push I needed to solidify my resolve. I decided to take the challenge, to work alongside her, supporting one another and growing together. With that vision in mind, I committed to moving forward. For the next 6 months, I threw myself into the report generation feature modification project. When I first accepted the role of project leader, I felt like a heavy weight had been placed on my shoulders. But thanks to Emma and the support of my team members, my initial anxiety gradually transformed into confidence. We decided to migrate the report generation program from ProCobol to Python. After careful comparison, Python was chosen based on the development team's familiarity and ease of future maintenance. Every day was spent working late into the night, and weekends were often spent cooped up in the office. But every step we took brought us closer to success. We meticulously combed through the existing code line by line, rebuilding it in the new programming language. My proficiency in multiple programming languages turned out to be a tremendous asset in this project. As the project progressed, collaboration with the development team grew stronger and more seamless. The development team members began to highly value my programming knowledge, and I also received a lot of advice and support from them. The development team's leader, Matthew, approached me one day and said, "Mason, your work on this project has been a huge help. Not just the technical solutions, but also the thoughtful documentation and design for long-term maintenance. I've learned so much from you." Hearing those words, I felt like all the long hours of effort had finally paid off. The programming languages I had struggled to learn during my jobless days were now proving to be invaluable. And I realized that all the hardships back then had not been in vain. This experience became a powerful testament to overcoming that difficult time, filling me with confidence for my future career. Seeing my skills recognized and witnessing them create tangible value made me truly believe that the path I had chosen was the right one after all. 6 months of hard work later, the project was finally complete. The new report generation system began running smoothly. When we informed the client that future modifications would now be much easier, they gave us high praise. Following this success, Alex officially entrusted me with a leadership position on the development team. Mason, under your leadership, this team has achieved great results. I'm counting on you to take us even further, he said. Hearing those words filled me with both pride and a sense of responsibility. Through this project, I had overcome the fears and doubts that had been holding me back. It was thanks to Emma, my team, and the development team's support that I had been able to achieve this. As a leader now, I wanted to take on even more projects, guiding the team to greater success. Seeing the entire team grow and improve together became my greatest joy. After the project's successful completion, I made a decision. I decided to invite Emma out to dinner to express my gratitude and to share something deeply important. I was finally ready to tell her how I felt about her. On a slightly chilly autumn evening, I invited Emma to a cozy local Italian restaurant. When she arrived, she wasn't in her usual suit but dressed in a casual outfit. Seeing her like that was refreshing, and I found myself growing nervous. "Thank you for bringing me to such a lovely place, Mason," she said with a smile, which gradually eased my tension. As the evening went on, we talked about the project, our future work, and even personal hobbies. Her laughter and attentive listening made me appreciate her even more, revealing just how deep and kind-hearted she was. When dessert was almost over, my heart began to race. I took a deep breath and decided to speak my mind. "Emma, there's another reason I asked you to dinner tonight. Working on this project, I've gotten to know you so much better. And I'm truly grateful for that. And I've also realized that I've grown to care about you. I like you." It was difficult to get the words out, but I looked straight into her eyes as I spoke. She looked surprised at first, but then her face softened into a warm smile. "Mason, I feel the same way. I've always relied on you as a team member. But ever since the report fix, I've watched you grow and shine right by your side. I want to spend more time with you, too." Hearing her words, my heart overflowed with relief and joy. That moment became one of the happiest in my life. From that day on, we started dating. With each moment we spent together, our bond deepened. Her smile had the power to lift my spirits, no matter how tired or stressed I was. With her support, I found the strength to face the daily pressures of work. Years later, we got married and built a small but happy family together. Having a partner who supported me both at work and in life brought new colors and meaning to my world. Meeting Emma and sharing every day with her is the greatest joy in my life. Back then, when I became a job seeker facing challenges due to the effects of the Lehman shock, I faced countless hardships. But the effort I put into learning programming languages ultimately led me to this happy future. That difficult period shaped who I am today and perhaps prepared me to meet Emma. Looking back now, I realize that those struggles became the foundation that brought us together so strongly. Meeting Emma and the journey we've shared, growing side by side, is an irreplaceable treasure to me. I believe that together we can continue to support each other and overcome any challenges life throws our way. Oomph. Do you even realize your life depends on us? If our company pulls the contract, a small, weak factory like yours will collapse. Just do what I say, and keep your mouths shut, you pawns. The client's employee was demanding that we lower the price of our screws. But I take pride in the fact that our screws are worth their price. There's no way I can just recklessly lower the price. No matter how much you insist, we cannot do that. When I said that, the person in charge stood up and poured a steaming cup of coffee all over me. Splat! Ah! I couldn't help but cry out. I think it was quite a loud yell. By the time I felt the heat, my skin had already turned bright red, looking painfully raw. Who do you think you are, you little cog in the wheel of a weak subcontractor's subcontractor? If you don't want us to pull the contract, then cut this garbage product's price in half, got it? Hearing those words, I felt my blood run cold. Is this how your company operates? And after this, that person in charge was destined to fall into a deep abyss. My name is Aaron. I'm already 35 years old. The place where this 35-year-old man works is a small-town factory. Hey, Dad, I'm talking with the client today. Anything you want to say? Just handle it as usual. All right, got it. And don't call me Dad. Oh. The man standing in front of me gave me a stern look. I quickly corrected myself. Sorry, Mr. Martin. My dad, the owner of this small-town factory, seemed satisfied with my correction and headed back to the workshop. Yes, this small factory where I work is my family's business. At our factory, we make screws. Screws for chairs and desks, screws for machinery, and even tiny screws for precision equipment. It's a small-town factory, but we've managed to land some fairly big projects. However, as always, dealing with the clients is left to me. My dad is a pure craftsman at heart. His technical skills are top-notch, but his pride is just as high. Because of his stubborn personality, he's terrible at negotiations. As a result, all the client meetings and negotiations fall to me. If Dad goes, it'll just turn into an argument. With a sigh, I prepared to meet today's client. Today's meeting was with one of our most important clients. This client is a major machinery-related company, and among them, the largest trading firm we deal with. The high-rise building where they're located is a far cry from our tiny factory. Nervously, I entered the grand lobby. I've been here many times, but I still get nervous. I still haven't gotten used to these business negotiations. Even so, wearing the black suit I've slowly grown accustomed to, I made sure to smooth out the wrinkles before stepping inside the company. My legs trembled slightly, but I walked up to the receptionist with determination. I knew that the person I was meeting today was the only one with that last name in this company. Excuse me. I'm Aaron Martin from Martin Factory. Is Isaac available? Oh, we've been expecting you, Mr. Martin. About today. The receptionist gave me an apologetic look. Wait, is the meeting not today? I tilted my head anxiously, feeling a bit uneasy. But her response was different from what I expected. Actually, Isaac, the person in charge, is out on a business trip today. Someone else is filling in just for today. You weren't informed? Oh, I see. No, I didn't receive any notice. My sincerest apologies. It was an oversight on our part. No. It's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. I'm truly sorry. I'll call the person in charge immediately. Please wait over there. The receptionist deeply bowed and directed me to a nearby sofa. With a sigh, I sat down. I wonder what kind of person will show up. Isaac, the usual person in charge, is a friendly and approachable guy. He always listens carefully to my clumsy explanations and tries to work things out with me. This company, from the receptionist to everyone else, is full of great people. I bet the new person will be just as nice. All right, let's do this. I clenched my fists, pumping myself up. Despite my nervousness, I waited expectantly for the new person in charge. Then, a man appeared at the reception desk from the back. After talking briefly with the receptionist, he turned toward me. As soon as I saw his face, an unexplainable feeling of discomfort arose in my chest. Huh? Why do I feel this way? The man walked closer. His slightly creepy smile made my skin crawl. As his face came closer, my brain started sounding alarms. I dug through my memories. It was a face I never wanted to remember. So, it really is you, Aaron. Wait, is that Noah? Before I knew it, I had spoken my thoughts out loud. The man in front of me was Noah. Unbelievably, he was my old classmate. Didn't expect to see you here, of all places, the son of some weak little factory. Noah's words made my blood boil. Yeah, well, I didn't expect to see you either. Weren't you off in Tokyo? I snapped back a bit harder than I intended. But Noah didn't seem to care. He scanned me from head to toe with an obnoxiously appraising gaze. What's with you? It was an unpleasant gaze. It felt like I was being appraised. And that attitude was blatantly on display, with no attempt to hide it. Wow, that suit really doesn't suit you. Why don't you stick to wearing dirty overalls, like a good little factory worker? Excuse me. Careful now. Are you sure it's a good idea to talk back to your client, me? Client? You're the one in charge? That's right, and I'm your client. Come on, the meeting room is this way. Bet a poor guy like you doesn't get to walk around buildings this fancy very often. Actually, I've been here plenty of times and know where the meeting room is. Oh, sure, like you'd remember. Just don't go stealing anything, you pauper. I wouldn't steal anything. I couldn't hold back my anger and ended up raising my voice. But as it echoed through the floor, I caught sight of the receptionist looking at me with concern. Embarrassed, I quickly shut my mouth. Don't shout, it's embarrassing. That's because you keep saying ridiculous things. Blushing furiously, I followed Noah. I gave a slight nod to the receptionist as a small gesture of apology. Why does it have to be him? Ugh, just my bad luck. I sighed as I looked at Noah's back. It was a sigh with a completely different meaning this time. I genuinely thought, I really can't stand this guy. Noah, as I mentioned, was my classmate back in school. He graduated from Tokyo University, so he's undoubtedly smart. But his personality? Let's just say it leaves much to be desired. It would have been one thing if he only bragged about himself, but he had no problem making degrading remarks about others. I was one of his targets, too. My family's factory had been well known in our town since I was a kid. It's a small screw factory run by our family, producing screws for all kinds of uses, even tiny, rare ones. In a tight-knit rural community like ours, everyone knew about our long-standing business. But Noah always made a mockery of it. Ha! Look at you, poor boy. Poor kids always wear dirty overalls and sweat buckets. Disgusting. You reek of oil. Don't come near me. Noah would say hurtful things without a second thought. Back then, we were just kids, so I've come to accept it as something inevitable. My dad really was the kind of person who lived for his work. He worked so much that he rarely interacted with people, which often led to misunderstandings. On the rare occasion he stepped out, the townspeople would often see him in his worn, oil-stained overalls. Now that I'm an adult, I sometimes wish my dad had paid more attention to his appearance back then. But the Noah in front of me didn't seem much different from the Noah of those childhood days. I can't believe you're actually working at a factory. It's filthy, smelly. Oh wait, poor people don't get to be picky about jobs, right? Guess you had no choice, huh? Ha ha ha. I gritted my teeth, determined not to raise my voice again. I never imagined that, as adults, I'd once again be on the receiving end of Noah's mockery. With these thoughts swirling in my mind, we finally arrived at the meeting room. It was a large room, and Noah and I sat across from each other. Noah, saying well, sort of, casually used the coffee machine in the meeting room to make 2 cups of coffee. Since I feel sorry for a poor guy like you, I'll at least brew you some decent coffee. Noah placed a steaming cup of coffee in a paper cup in front of me. I gave him a slight nod and politely thanked him. Thanks. Poor guys like you don't get to drink coffee very often, do you? Patience, patience. I kept telling myself. Looking into the coffee, I saw my own tense, scowling face reflected back at me. All right. Let's switch gears. I'm here for work, after all. I exhaled deeply, trying to reset my thoughts. Then, I showed Noah the materials I had prepared. As I'm sure Isaac mentioned, today we'll be going over this and this. Carefully, I laid out the documents in front of him. This was, after all, work. I reminded myself that I needed to stay professional and use polite language, no matter what. I shifted my tone, trying to remain professional. However, Noah gave the documents a quick glance before leaning back in his chair. He stretched and cracked his neck as if completely uninterested. He showed no sign of actually listening to me. I leaned forward and looked at his face. Are you listening to me? Yeah, I don't need all that. What? Noah cut me off mid-sentence. No, it wasn't just cutting me off. It was more like he completely shut down the conversation. Does this guy even have any intention of having a discussion? Wait, what? I came here today specifically to discuss this with you, as agreed with Isaac. If it's about that, talk to Isaac. I'm here to discuss something else with you. Wait, what? Didn't Isaac brief you? I'm here to go over these points. Yeah, no. That doesn't concern me. What? I couldn't help but respond with the same kind of answer. My head was swimming with questions. Today's meeting was supposed to focus on discussing the safety of our screws and how to promote them moving forward. This was something I had agreed to finalize with Isaac during our last conversation. What else is there to discuss? Everything is mostly settled, we just need to finalize these details. There's still something not settled. Okay, but that's what? Not that. Something else. Bang! Noah slammed his hand on the table in frustration. I froze, startled by the sudden noise. Seeing my reaction, Noah seemed satisfied and smirked at me mockingly. You don't get it, do you? These screws are overpriced. Overpriced? Yeah, don't you know the market rates for screws? Yours cost twice as much. That's because. Can't even do basic math, huh, poor boy? Or are you just desperate to scrape by? I discussed the price thoroughly with Isaac, and we agreed that it's fair for these screws. No, you're not listening. I'm telling you the price is way off the market. Lower it. I can't. This price was set after multiple discussions with Isaac. It's not something I can change now. Just tell them you renegotiated with me and lowered it. Drop the price. Let's see. Noah pulled a pen from his chest pocket and scribbled a number on the documents I had brought. This seems about right. What the? That's less than half the current price. That's what the market rate is for screws. These screws are the result of hard work from my dad and me. Yeah, spare me the heartwarming father-son tale. The real world isn't so kind. Just lower the price already. Noah kept repeating lower the price, like a broken record. This product is. I tried to bring up the topic of the screws, but Noah made it clear with exaggerated gestures that he had no intention of listening to me. He glared at me lazily, his disinterest evident. But I refused to back down and glared right back at him. Let me make this clear one more time, these screws are overpriced. Lower the price. No. We're sticking with this price. I spoke firmly to Noah. The moment he heard my words, he gave a sly grin. A bad feeling crept over me, and then. Splash. Ah. It's hot. I instinctively clutched my arm. Brown liquid dripped from the table onto the floor in steady drops. I must have shouted quite loudly. I couldn't help but cry out. Noah had poured the steaming coffee in front of him all over me. Reflexively, I moved my body to shield my face, but my arm took the brunt of it. The pain was intense. Hot coffee seeped through my suit sleeve and burned my skin. My arm turned bright red, looking painfully raw. Does anyone normal go this far? I glared at Noah. But he didn't look the least bit remorseful. He just smiled, watching me as if enjoying a show. He didn't even bother to wipe up the spilled coffee or show concern for my arm. If anything, he looked proud of himself, like a child savoring the satisfaction of pulling off a prank. Ha! You know your little factory survives because of us, right? If we cancel our contract, your weak little factory will go under in no time. Just do what I tell you, pawn. Stop talking back. Ha ha ha. He let out a laugh straight out of a cartoon villain. It was a laugh so loathsome it made my stomach churn. But I refused to back down and glared at him. No matter how much you demand, we cannot lower the price. Ha? Really? Okay, fine, then we'll just cancel the contract. Hope you don't mind your company going under. Throwing hot coffee at a business partner is way worse than canceling a contract. You think a big company like ours is going to grovel before a subcontractor's subcontractor? Be realistic. You should be begging us to buy your junk products, even at a discount. Junk? I replayed Noah's words in my mind. The screws my dad and I worked so hard to create were junk? I felt my blood run cold. Anger and a strange calmness mixed within me as I slowly stood up. So, this is how your company operates, is it? I didn't even bother looking at Noah anymore. I couldn't stand to see his face a second longer. Without another word, I walked out of the meeting room. I cradled my burned arm, but Noah's words had numbed the pain. The rage that had been boiling inside me had been replaced by a chilling calm. I realized there was no point in arguing with someone like him. He wasn't worth my time. I left the building. As I walked out, I noticed the receptionist trying to speak to me, but I pretended not to see her and kept going. When I got home, the anger I had suppressed earlier surged back. I told my dad and mom everything that had happened that day. I see. My dad simply listened and then headed to the workshop without saying a word. Seeing him walk away made me feel even more frustrated. I wanted him to say something. Maybe I wanted him to declare that we'd stop doing business with them entirely. My mom, on the other hand, frowned thoughtfully. Isaac worked so hard to handle things properly. And yet they send someone like that as a substitute? The original person in charge, Isaac, had always taken our screws seriously. He had even said he didn't want to lose us as a partner. Talking it over with my mom, I couldn't help but think something felt off. But no matter how much we mulled over it, nothing would get resolved on our end. Several days passed without any contact with that company. A few days later. Ding dong. Coming. The factory's doorbell rang. My dad was in the workshop. My mom had gone to make lunch. I was the only one available, so I quickly headed to the entrance. Yes. Oh, Isaac. Hello, Aaron. When I opened the door, the first person I saw was Isaac. And standing next to him. Thank you for your time. What? Mr. Yates. I did a double take. It was none other than Mr. Yates, the president of the trading company, standing right there. And next to him, unnoticed until now, was Noah, looking small and sheepish. What brings you here? Oh. Please, come in. Before asking about their purpose, I quickly led the three of them inside. I guided them to the guest room we reserved for visitors, prepared tea, and served it to them. Could this be about that incident? Oh no, are they here to cancel the contract? I'm so sorry, Dad. Sweat began to bead on my hands. Nervously, I sat down in front of the three of them. So, what brings you here today? To my astonishment, Mr. Yates and Isaac both bowed their heads to me. "We sincerely apologize. We are so sorry." The two of them apologized in unison. "What?" "We heard from our receptionist about how Noah handled things the other day. We deeply apologize for his behavior." "Oh, no. I also raised my voice, and I'm sorry for that." No, your anger was completely justified." I bowed my head alongside them. Then Isaac began to explain the situation. "To be honest, while I was on my business trip, we were supposed to contact you to extend the discussion timeline. However, it seems someone changed that plan without permission." Isaac shot a sharp glare at Noah. This Noah took it upon himself to tell our clients that he was the new person in charge during my absence. Even though I was still the official contact, he lied and called himself a temporary replacement. Why would he do that? Well, at our company, we've recently set a cost-cutting initiative as a major goal. It seems Noah was overly eager to prove himself as the first to achieve it. Isaac bowed his head again, speaking in a subdued tone. He went on to explain everything thoroughly and with great care, but to summarize, Noah apparently viewed Isaac as his rival. When the company introduced its cost-cutting initiative, Noah saw it as his chance. If he could renegotiate everything Isaac is in charge of and get the prices lowered, he'd achieve the cost-cutting goal and steal Isaac's position. It was a short-sighted and selfish plan. Noah went ahead with his plan, contacting all of Isaac's clients without permission. Unapproved cost-cutting measures. Sudden changes to previously settled decisions. And his behavior during meetings. Seeing this, most of the clients outright rejected Noah's proposals. Some companies even canceled their contracts entirely after dealing with him. It wasn't until Isaac started receiving termination notices that he finally realized what had happened. And that's the situation. Right now, we're going around apologizing to all of our clients. That's quite a mess. I couldn't find the right words to respond. For such a large corporation, they must have countless clients. And yet, the president, Mr. Yates, came here personally with Isaac to apologize to us. Once again, we are truly sorry. Hey, you! Apologize. Mr. Yates and Isaac nudged Noah, who stood shrinking into himself. But even as he shrank, Noah didn't look remorseful in the slightest. He didn't offer any words of apology or even bow his head. He just pouted with his lips pressed together. Hey! You're the one who caused all this trouble. Apologize properly. Come on, this is ridiculous, Mr. Yates. These products are clearly overpriced. Isn't this factory also at fault? Enough. Don't underestimate this screw factory. Isaac snapped, silencing Noah in an instant. Noah's posture straightened up, as if snapped into attention. Even so, he began stammering and fumbling for excuses. But the market price for screws. How many times have I explained that this factory produces rare, specialized screws? There's nothing special about screws. Ha! Isaac and Mr. Yates let out a collective, exasperated sigh. It was clear Noah still didn't understand. I stood up, realizing there was no other way to make him see. I retrieved one of our screws and held it out to him. What now? This is one of the screws we make here. Ha, just an ordinary screw. Noah's dismissive words made both Mr. Yates and Isaac turn pale. Are you an idiot? How can you not recognize this screw? How long have you been in this industry? What? I lifted the screw to give Noah a closer look. This screw is used in bullet trains, precision equipment, and other critical applications where lives are at stake. What? A tiny, no-name factory like this makes those? The screw had a slightly different shape from ordinary ones. It was a design I had meticulously refined over the years. This factory produces screws that no other factory can. And these screws are essential components in applications where lives are on the line. As a middle schooler, I grew up watching my dad at work. Like Noah said, my family wasn't wealthy. We weren't dirt poor, but we often struggled to make ends meet. But even as a child, I understood that my dad's rare skills were highly sought after and that he worked tirelessly to meet those needs. Watching him dedicate himself to his craft, I felt a growing desire to support him. Imitating my dad's work, I began coming up with ideas of my own and eventually learned to create things myself. Although my dad was a stoic and stubborn man who rarely smiled, he had an open mind when it came to embracing new ideas. Whenever I created a new screw, my dad would always smile, truly happy. Seeing the normally serious and busy expression on his face light up with joy made me so happy that I became fully absorbed in screw making. It must be that focus and skill I inherited from him. Now, I've created a one-of-a-kind screw here in this small factory. I take pride in this work. I don't make things that deserve to be priced carelessly, as if saying this should do or this seems fair. Small and rural though we may be, the screws my family and I create are the best in the world. Or so I believe. I'm not stupid enough to just lower the price because someone tells me to. I looked straight at Noah. I wasn't the person who used to be pushed around by him anymore. I took pride in my work and in myself. What about you? Do you have any pride after trying to steal someone else's work? Ugh. Noah faltered, unable to respond. The room fell silent. All that could be heard was the sound of my dad hammering something in the workshop, a rhythmic clang, clang. The quiet atmosphere seemed unbearable for Noah, and slowly, he bowed his head to me. I'm sorry. Though his voice was small, Noah offered me a genuine apology. I nodded, accepting it. A few days later, Noah went around personally apologizing to me and to every other client he had inconvenienced. Afterward, Mr. Yates demoted Noah, assigning him to a dead-end position often referred to as a sideline role, where he worked for a while. Somehow, word got out, and Noah became infamous as the guy who threw coffee at a client, making it impossible for him to stay at the company, ultimately leading to his resignation. Now, he appears to be quietly working at a smaller company. At my family's small-town factory, my dad and mom met again with Mr. Yates and Isaac, who apologized once more, and my dad accepted. We have since continued our partnership with their company without issue. Since that incident, Isaac has started providing regular updates. The company has also implemented stricter internal and external communication protocols to prevent similar mistakes. With these measures in place, such issues are unlikely to happen again. And so, I returned to my life of working alongside my dad. Every day, I found myself mirroring his serious expression as we focused on our work. Having declared my pride in our craft, I became even more dedicated to improving my skills. Watching this, my mom couldn't help but smile. Like father, like son. You both make the exact same face when you're working. Her comment made me laugh. Ha! Oh. Even Dad's smiling. Shut up and get back to work. Yes, Mr. Martin. I quickly peered at the screw in my hand through a magnifying glass. I was fine-tuning its intricate details. The screw I was working on was still in development. I hope to create another amazing screw that will make my dad smile. I want the three of us, as a family, to live even happier days together. My name is Kyle, and I'm 39 years old. I received news that my childhood friend was getting married and also got an invitation to the wedding. My sister, who's also close to that friend, wanted to attend, so we decided to go together. To my surprise, my childhood friend's fiancé turned out to be the son of Mr. Adams, the leader of the Sanders gang. At the venue, my sister and I were checking the seating cards. My sister's name was there, but mine wasn't. Natalie, my sister's seat is here, but where am I supposed to sit? Oh, you're next to Jessica, right? Didn't you see your name? While laughing, my childhood friend said this casually. Puzzled, I went to check again, and what I saw written there was "lowlife scumbag." What's with that look? You look like a deer caught in the headlights. The one laughing beside my childhood friend was Tyler, the son of Mr. Adams, the leader of the Sanders gang. What kind of joke is this? Ha? You think this is a joke? Natalie told me you're a gang member too, right? Well, guess what, so am I. And I'm the son of Mr. Adams, the leader. You know what that means, right? You're below me. As fellow gang, I figured we should make the hierarchy clear from the start. This is just a greeting, so don't take it the wrong way. I've got my pride as Mr. Adams' son to protect, you know? Natalie, I came here today to celebrate your marriage, not to be insulted. Sorry. Tyler was just joking around. I think he got a little jealous when he found out Kyle is my childhood friend. You know how it is. Since you're both from the same world, he probably thought proper introductions were extra important. So really, he didn't mean any harm. This is just Tyler's way of taking the first step to get along with you. So, please, go along with it, okay? Get along? How am I supposed to feel good about becoming friends after this? And are you sure about marrying someone who can treat his bride's friends like this? Sorry, but my first impression of him is the absolute worst. I hesitated for a moment, thinking it might be too cruel to say something like this at the wedding. But I couldn't help worrying about my friend's future. Natalie. Who does this guy think he is? Like I said, I'm Mr. Adams' son. I'm telling you I'm above trash like him. And yet, look at his attitude toward me. Does he even understand his place? Tyler, that's a bit much. Didn't you say you were excited to get along with Kyle because you're both gang members? That's why you wanted to make a proper introduction, right? You said starting off with some teasing would help you get along. Huh? Are you seriously taking that nonsense at face value? Natalie, come on. You're going to be the wife of someone who'll one day lead the group. You need to get it together. If I lose respect, that's as good as the Sanders gang losing face. So you and this guy better understand where we stand. What? I didn't know you really meant that. I thought you wanted to get along with Kyle, and... Kyle, I'm sorry. This must have been awful for you. But really, Tyler's a good guy. He's so kind and caring to me. Enough already. I held back because you were my girlfriend, but now you're going to have to step it up as my wife. And you were thinking about it with pleasure too, weren't you? You say you've known him since childhood, but deep down you don't like him, do you? What? No. Kyle is very important to me. Yeah, sure. I get it. No one's going to admit it in front of the guy. But don't worry, if you think he's scary because he's a gang member, I'll protect you. After all, I'm above him. What's your problem? Huh? Who the hell are you? Suddenly, my sister couldn't hold back her anger. The situation had spiraled completely out of control. What's my problem? I'm asking what yours is. We came here to celebrate Natalie's wedding, and yet you've been insulting my brother. Calling him a lowlife and boasting about how you're better. What are you even trying to do? You're supposed to be marrying Natalie because you love her, aren't you? And now you're telling her to act like a wife and know her place? Is that really something you say to your partner? What do you know about it? Stay out of this. You don't know the first thing about the gang world. This is why women are impossible, because they just start nagging and yelling for no reason. Excuse me? I do have a reason. I'm Kyle's sister, and I'm also close to Natalie. Honestly, Natalie, maybe Kyle's right, you picked the wrong guy. I've never seen someone so lacking in basic decency. We came to celebrate, and now the mood is ruined. Jessica, that's not fair. Tyler's my fiancé. Don't insult the man I love. What? I'm saying I love Tyler. I chose him. So how dare you say I made a mistake? I only said that because I care about you. No, you're just jealous, Jessica. Wait, what? Come on, Jessica. You've never even had a boyfriend before, have you? Not even one romantic rumor about you. You're just jealous because I'm getting married, aren't you? It's like you're thinking, why does someone younger than me get to tie the knot first? Just because you can't get married doesn't mean you have to say things like that. What? That's ridiculous. I'm not jealous. And for the record, it's not that I can't get married, but I choose not to. I don't even want to get married. Oh, please. That's just what people say when they've lost. Classic sore loser. Hey, you. Sis, calm down. I get it, so just take it easy. How can I calm down after being talked to like that? Why do I have to put up with this? Ha, how sad it is to be mocked by Natalie, someone you thought was on your side. What did you just say? Sis, that's enough. Let's just go. Staying here will only make us feel worse. Pulling my sister by the arm, I led her out of the venue. My childhood friend watched us leave with a sad look on her face, but there was nothing else we could do. Just then, a blonde woman approached me. Who is she? She's cute. Is she coming over here? Wait, is she talking to me? Mr. Smith, shall we crush that gang? Ha! Mr. Smith. My sister stared at the blonde woman, stunned that someone so pretty could say something like that. Yeah, let's do that. I can't let this slide any longer. Understood. Kyle. Who is she? Don't worry, sis. I'll get payback for you. My sister seemed too bewildered to understand, but I walked away with the blonde woman. The next day. This is the Smith gang. We're here to destroy your gang today. Wait. You're from the Smith gang. Why? Yesterday, your son insulted Mr. Smith repeatedly. We're here to settle that score. Your son said Mr. Smith was a lowlife gang and trash. Would you care to explain that? The Smith gang's leader is trash. There must be some mistake. My son couldn't have possibly insulted Mr. Smith. Mistake? If you think that, how about calling your son and his wife here? Let them explain it themselves. That should clear everything up. That can't be. Mr. Adams, the leader of the Sanders gang, paled as he fumbled to call his son. Tyler? Congratulations on your wedding. Sorry I couldn't make it yesterday. About that wedding, I need to ask you something. Could you come here right away? What, Dad? Why are you sounding so nervous? What's going on? Just come here. You'll understand when you get here. Fine. I'll head over now. Sensing something was wrong, Tyler hurried to the scene. My son will be here soon. Please wait a little longer. If he really did something so foolish, no, I can't believe it, but it's unfortunate, but your foolish son insulted Mr. Smith. Isn't that right, Mr. Smith? Yeah. Imagine my surprise when the son of the Sanders gang's leader claimed he was above me and insulted my sister. The part one can't forgive isn't that he mocked me, but it's that he mocked my sister. My sister's been close to my childhood friend for years. She was so genuinely happy when she heard Natalie was getting married, reminiscing about how she's grown up. And yet, your son stomped all over that happiness. He'll need to take responsibility. I understand. I know Mr. Smith isn't one to joke about these things. But still, without proof. It's hard to believe my son would do something so stupid. Would you understand that? I get it. It's hard to imagine your own son putting your entire gang at risk. At that moment, the foolish son himself arrived in a panic. You're from yesterday. What are you doing here? So it was true after all. Mr. Smith, I deeply apologize for what my son has done. Tyler, bow your head immediately. What are you doing, Dad? Why are you bowing to this guy? He's just some bottom of the barrel gang. Right, Natalie? Well. I mean, I did say Kyle was a gang member, but I never said he was trash or anything like that. I don't even know who this guy is. He's got to be some low-ranking thug, that's all. Dad, stop bowing. Stand up. Tyler. Shut up and bow your head. If you apologize now, we might minimize the damage. Just do it. Huh? Why the hell should I bow to some nobody? Dad, you're embarrassing me. And who's this blonde woman? She's been smirking at me this whole time. What's her deal? Watch your mouth. This is Mr. Smith, the leader of the Smith gang. And this woman is Rachel, the daughter of the former Smith leader. Insulting her is the same as insulting the former leader himself. Take back what you said immediately. The Smith gang. No way. You mean that Smith gang? There's no way Natalie's childhood friend is the leader of such a massive group. That's impossible. Dad, tell me this isn't true. I've been telling you to bow your head, you fool. Mr. Smith came all this way because he's furious about what you did. Don't you understand? If the Smith gang targets us, the Sanders gang is finished. Do you realize what you've done? Wait. I didn't know. I had no idea. I'm so sorry for what I said yesterday. I thought you were just some random thug. I was worried about being looked down on by a lowlife gang, and I'm so sorry. Tyler. Finally realizing the gravity of the situation, Tyler bowed his head to me. My childhood friend watched over the situation anxiously, and though I felt pain in my heart, I still couldn't forgive him. My son is truly reflecting on his actions. So please, could you avoid making this a bigger deal? If he had known you were Mr. Smith, the leader of the Smith gang, he would never have done such a foolish thing. It was all because he didn't know. So I beg for your understanding and leniency. Unfortunately, that's not something I can forgive so easily. What? Natalie, you are precious to me. I've known you since we were kids, and I even remember you saying that your dream was to become a bride someday. That's why I can't stand the thought of someone like him being the one to marry you. I've always wished for your happiness. But how could I entrust you to someone like this? I won't forget what he said to you yesterday. Kyle. Natalie, are you sure you want to marry someone like him? Don't think it's too late or that you can't turn back now. You can reconsider any time. This man, who doesn't even understand a joke, is a fool. I'm sorry to say such harsh things about the person you love. But I still want to think about your happiness. To be honest, Tyler was acting strange yesterday. That's not like him at all. As I said at the wedding, the real Tyler is much kinder. I'm sure when he realized Kyle was part of the gang, he got all fired up. But even I couldn't forgive him for mocking you like that. Wait a second. Natalie, are you abandoning me too? Can't you defend me just a little bit? I already told you yesterday, didn't I say you were going too far? But still, you didn't stop mocking Kyle. I can't defend you when you acted like that. And because of you, I ended up saying terrible things to Jessica. If you had acted properly, I wouldn't have had that argument with her. I defended you, and because of that, I ended up hurting someone else. I don't want to fight with Kyle either. What the hell? So what are you saying? Who's more important to you, me or him? Isn't it me? Yes, Tyler, you're important to me. But I don't want to lose my friends just to protect you. I have other people I care about, too. Just like you care more about your father's group than you do about me. What? I wasn't choosing the Sanders gang over you. That's not the point. If I were more important to you, you wouldn't say something stupid like don't let yourself get looked down on. Kyle is my friend. He's someone I care about. And you said such harsh things to him just to save your pride. If you really cared about me, you'd try to get along with him no matter what, even if it bruised your ego. Or was it really just about your pride, not the Sanders gang? If that's the case, it's even more ridiculous. I was, Tyler, abandoned even by my childhood friend and hit with the brutal truth, was at a loss for words. Now you understand, don't you? Who you picked to fight with. You have no choice but to kneel and beg for forgiveness. You did this to protect your pride, but there's no need for that when you're facing someone stronger than you. Show some real sincerity. Show them you're willing to sacrifice everything to make up for this. Otherwise, our group will be destroyed. If the Smith gang decides to strike, we're finished. Kneel? You're telling me not just to bow my head but to grovel on the ground. I can't do that. I've never done that in my life. Why should I kneel now? And you, Dad, you're the leader of the Sanders gang. How can you even consider lowering yourself like that? Don't you have any pride? What are you talking about? This is all your fault to begin with. I'm apologizing on your behalf, and that's what you have to say to me? I didn't raise you to be like this. I am the son of the Sanders gang's leader. You're the leader. Shouldn't you have more pride and protect this group better? It's because you're like this that we're being threatened and humiliated. If you were stronger, the Smith gang would. You don't understand how big the Smith gang is, do you? Sanders can't win against them. That's ridiculous. You don't know that until we try. If we challenge them now, if everyone works together, we might be able to win. But you're already admitting defeat. That's why the Sanders gang will never grow. You really don't get it, do you? The Sanders gang already lost to the Smith gang once. Back when the former leader, Mr. Owens, was in charge. The Sanders gang started a conflict against the Smith gang. But you know what? The Sanders gang couldn't stand a chance. And that was all because of the current leader of the Smith gang. What? We lost? That's impossible. I've never heard of that. I told you before. That's why I warned you not to provoke them. You said not to provoke them, but nothing. You've completely ignored my warnings, babbled on about your fantasies, and ruined everything. I'm so disappointed in you. The former Smith leader forgave our foolishness and even agreed to a peace treaty. And you destroyed all of that. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to protect the Sanders gang. No, you didn't. Like Natalie said, this wasn't about the group, but it was about your pride. You just didn't want to kneel. You ruined everything for the sake of your ego, even though I already bowed my head for you. I could say the same about you, Dad. You're acting like you're doing this for me, but it's all for the Sanders gang's sake. Of course it is. The group is more important than you. I'm responsible for the lives of dozens of people in this group. If the Sanders gang falls, what happens to them? Do you understand that? I thought I could leave this group to you one day, but now I see that would be a disaster. Mr. Smith, we're ready now. I've made up my mind. I don't care what happens to this boy, so please, Just spare the Sanders gang. What are you saying, Dad? No parent would sacrifice their own son like this. Stop joking. Take it back right now. I won't. This is for your own good. I've been too lenient with you. It's time for me to let you go. From now on, you'll have to climb your way back up on your own. Unforgivable. This man is just beyond redemption. Rachel. Even if Mr. Smith forgives him, I won't. To Mr. Smith, he might just be his childhood friend's fiancé. But to me, Mr. Smith is someone my father cherished deeply. Do you understand how complicated this is for me? Even so, I've decided I can't forgive him. Tyler, you're finished. Not only did you anger Mr. Smith, but you also made Rachel an enemy. You don't get it, do you? Rachel was always close to the former Smith leader, and all the other leaders doted on her. You're done for. What? Why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? Why is it always after the fact? Who cares? I'm done with you. I've already told you everything. Even after all that, you still managed to make enemies. Wait, Dad. Don't abandon me. It's too late, Tyler. Take care of this yourself. A man with that much pride should clean up his own mess. The son of Mr. Adams turned pale as a sheet and looked over at me and Rachel. And finally, he started groveling. I'm truly sorry. I was such a fool. Please forgive me. Even if you're this desperate now, it's too late, isn't it, Mr. Smith? Yeah, exactly. After seeing your attitude earlier, how could we take this seriously? It doesn't look like anything but an act to save yourself. I'm bowing my head to you for real. Up until just now, I thought of you as just the daughter of the former Smith gang's leader, nothing more. But after hearing what my father had to say, I realized you're someone we can't afford to make enemies with. It may have taken me some time to figure that out, but now I'm truly, sincerely sorry from the bottom of my heart. And to show how remorseful I am, I've put my forehead to the ground like this. Before, I thought I'd never do something like this, but look at me now. The fact that I'm down here, doing this, proves just how deeply I regret it, doesn't it? Regret, huh? Aren't you just scared out of your mind? If I say the word to the other gang leaders, you could be wiped off the face of this earth. That's why you're panicking, isn't it? Panicking, shaking, and groveling. You're nothing but a pathetic man. Where did all that bravado of yours go? You're so broken now I can't even recognize you. Maybe it's just that he cares about himself more than he does about Natalie or the Sanders gang his father works so hard to protect. So that's how it is. This guy only cares about himself, so he's just a self-absorbed fool. Now you see it too, don't you? What kind of man he really is. There's no point in helping him or loving him. It's a waste to give your love to someone like him. Natalie. You won't abandon me, right? We just promised yesterday eternal love, didn't we? Eternal love? Yeah, right. It's amazing how desperate people can say such embarrassing things when they're cornered. Natalie. Please, don't leave me. He's your childhood friend, right? If you stand by me, I can. I'm begging you. I know I was wrong yesterday. I didn't consider your feelings at all and only thought about myself. From now on, I'll put you first. So please, help me. I'm begging you. Kyle. I still care about Tyler. I know you're doing all of this for me, but could you give Tyler one more chance? Please, I'm asking you. I'll apologize to Jessica properly later. Natalie. Are you really sure about this? This guy will just. Maybe you're right. He might betray me again. But I want to believe in him because I fell in love with him. So please, just one more chance. Not to save Tyler, but to give me a chance. A chance to be happy. After hearing you say that. Natalie, let's leave it at this for now. But Mr. Smith. It's fine. That's enough. I have no right to interfere with Natalie's decision. Kyle. Natalie, make sure you're happy. And as for you, if you make Natalie cry again, I won't forgive you next time. You'd better remember that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. If Mr. Smith is willing to say that, then. And so, Mr. Adams's son was forgiven, and the Sanders gang managed to get through it unscathed. However, Tyler ended up being whispered about behind his back, his pride completely shattered. He could never show his face at the hideout again. Kyle. I'm really sorry. I caused you so much trouble. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. But are you really okay? Tyler has really changed since then. He's calmed down a lot, and I think he really reflected on his actions. He even treats me like some kind of goddess now, saying things like, if it weren't for you, who knows what would have happened to me, so I'm fine now. You don't need to worry about me anymore. I see. That's good, then. Honestly, I wasn't sure how things would turn out at first, but as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. But that beautiful blonde woman, is she really okay? She looked like she was truly furious, but then she forgave Tyler after you spoke to her. Oh, you mean Rachel? Don't worry about her. Once I tell her what you said today, she'll understand and agree it was the right decision. Rachel only got angry because she couldn't stand how Tyler treated you. Huh? Yeah, she has a real problem with men who belittle women. That's what made her so upset in the first place. So don't worry about Rachel. She'll be fine. I see. That's a relief. Watching my childhood friend smile in front of me, I felt a sense of peace. And I silently wished for her happiness.